Hi, I'm Mark Corcoran.
And I'm Bill Corcoran.
And no, we're not brothers.
We're married.
We've lived together in Ohio for years. We pay taxes in Ohio, but we couldn't get married in Ohio.
In 2009, we were in Connecticut for one of my music gigs.
And we tied the knot. We thought we'd use the Chopin Minute Waltz to keep us on track. Here, play, maestro. Go, go, go.
What's all that stuff on the screen?
Those are the 1,138 areas where the federal government protects straight married couples but doesn't protect us.
Wow.
Joint federal tax returns.
Spousal privilege in court.
Foster children.
Treatment of foreign spouses.
Assuming a spouse's pension after death.
Tax-free IRA inheritance.
Property tax exemptions after death.
Tax break for married couples.
Joint bankruptcy.
Are you hungry? I'm starving.
You want to eat now?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Now?
Yes. Yes.
All right. You keep reading. I'll eat. I'll get us some more.
Okay. So then what else? For medical decision, hospitalization visitation, prison visitation rights, joint parenting rights,
Burial rights.
help with domestic violence,
The right to file wrongful death claims.
family sick leave,
Joint home and auto insurance policy.
adopting children,
Family memberships.
health insurance,
Bereavement leave.
property transfer rights,
Family veterans discounts.
the right to renew rental leases if a spouse dies.
You know, these are just a few of the rights we're denied.
If you are being denied 1,138 rights, wouldn't you be asking for a change?
Huh. At long last, after 7 months of being nomads, peripatetics with panache, if you will, we are finally in our new place and are adapting to a new way of living. We love that we have windows on the north, south, and east walls of our apartment, and we're easily adjusting to an open living plan instead of separate dining room, living room, and kitchen. So far, so good.
Yep, so far so good.
Our new apartment is only 12 square feet smaller than our old one, so the adjustment isn't huge. Even though we've been gone in exile from Judson Manor for 7 months, being back in our new apartment gives me the opportunity to use my favorite line from one of my favorite movies, titled My Favorite Year, when the Zoftig and zany Lainie Kazan welcomes a famous actor to her Brooklyn home with, "Welcome to our humble chapeau." In response, her husband says, 2 years at the Sorbonne, and she still doesn't get it right. Anyway, you enter apartment 609 into a foyer of sorts, a faux foyer, if you will. The first thing you see is a very treasured piece that I've had for many years. It's a porcelain bisque relief of Cupid and Psyche in a very elaborate Victorian frame. I was most worried about this being packed during our move and stored for so many months, but it came out unscathed and intact, and I'm delighted about that. The piece is exquisite, and I've always been very proud of it. Straight, you should pardon the expression, ahead are 2 of the 2021 acquisitions by our dear friend and talented artist Kelly Pontoni, obviously inspired by the pandemic.
Right, Mark, not left.
Turning right, we enter the primary bedroom, which is PC for master bedroom. The term master bedroom is out of vogue as it alludes to the days of, quote, involuntary relocation, close quote, as Texans recently proposed calling slavery. But I digress. The bedroom is very large, 15.5 by 21.5, with a ton of light with windows on the south and east sides. Our vintage drafting table, which used to serve as our kitchen table, is now a project table where we can spread out documents at tax time, indulge Bill's periodic need for a jigsaw puzzle, or his newfound fascination with elaborate Lego kits. He brought the first one, the Taj Mahal, to be seen in a minute.
Wait a minute, let's just show it now.
Well, all right. He bought it at Legoland in Atlanta, Georgia. And the second one, the White House, he bought in Savannah, Georgia. The completed White House is here on the project table. Since both projects were done while we were traveling in exile, I call them Legos on the Lam. The ensuite bathroom is spacious. A great little Chinese red cabinet holds fresh towels and grooming paraphernalia. An Alexander Calder print from our late friend Jordan Perlman, and black and white images of our trip to Spain and Cleveland architectural landmarks add some visual interest to the space. The Lego Taj Mahal, which Bill completed in Savannah in May, is over the toilet. The gizmo on the toilet is a Tushy bidet attachment. We became fans of bidets on our trips to Europe and were motivated to add it, remembering the toilet paper shortages of the early pandemic days.
Credit where credit is due. It was Mark's idea.
We're using our second bedroom, which is 14 by 17, as our den for both of our desks and workspaces, and a TV large enough to clearly see closed captioning. What started as an aid to understanding dialogue on Masterpiece Theater has now become essential for watching everything, as actors' diction has gone down the drain and mumbling is encountered way too often in contemporary films. On the walls, there's a whole lot going on. Above my desk is a collection of playbill covers from favorite Broadway shows, with center being reserved for a framed original cast recording of The Lorelei starring Carol Channing. To the side is a serograph of Joel Grey as the MC in Cabaret, and blow-ups of press coverage of Bill as a musical director and myself in a plain dealer holiday feature on Entertaining at Home. Accessible from the den and foyer is a second full bathroom for guests. The main wall is a collection of bits and bobs we've acquired along the way, including our treasured Cleveland series by friend and artist Dale Gallis, illustrating the fabled Millionaire's Row, downtown architecture, and familiar ecclesiastical Cleveland buildings. The east wall, where Bill creates and conjures new work and music, features a collection of paintings on porcelain from my first and late partner, Tony Fitch, who died in 2003. We were together for 30 years. A General Motors executive professionally, he didn't start painting on porcelain until he was nearly 70 years old. At the center is an antique school clock. On the north wall are watercolors we brought on our trip to Malta a few years ago, and an interesting architectural fragment. We have no idea what it was part of, we just thought it was interesting and had to have it. And finally, our newest and very exciting acquisition is a sculpture by Michael High titled Can't Hold Me Back. We call her Beatrix the Badass Bunny, who is all sass and attitude, our kind of girl.
You got that right.
Coming back into the foyer, there's a weight-bearing pillar that couldn't be moved when the space was renovated, so naturally we turned it into a space to show some Objet Corcoran. The top painting of Tea and Oranges and the bottom painting of Roma Tomatoes were painted by a Notre Dame nun living at the Mother House in Chardon. The middle painting on porcelain of a ginger jar and plums was purchased many years ago with the help of our friend Laura Sherman when she worked at the Bonfoy Gallery downtown. Moving around the pillar, you see a French polychrome clock dated Paris 1910 and a three-dimensional ceramic rendering of Romeo and Juliet. I know nothing of its provenance at all, but it's an interesting piece. And finally, a collection of botanical prints I bought when I worked at Williams-Sonoma. The bookcase holds a handy collection of favorite cookbooks and references. The kitchen is open to the dining room and living areas. Total space is 15 by 13, which is a new experience for this cook, accustomed to having a separate kitchen away from company and friends. The days of what happens in the kitchen stays in the kitchen are over, and I think I'm okay with that. We've got good counter space and lots of area to roll out dough and let cookies cool on racks. Fortunately, our laundry room is big enough to add pantry shelves for staples and bakeware. Since we do cook and bake a lot, we opted for putting our red Le Creuset cookware and our white Apilco bakeware and serving pieces on an open stainless steel rack, which makes everything visible and accessible. The only thing missing from our dining area at present is a chandelier, which will be installed this week or next.
Most people would be happy with one chandelier, but not Mark. Not us.
We're using a Maitland Smith Swanhead console table to suggest a division between the living and dining areas without sacrificing the open space and light. The living area with our piano and cabinets for collectibles finishes the apartment with great views of the Art Museum and Wade Park Lagoon. The black chinoiserie cabinet holds lots of ceramic porcelain pieces by Beam and Connoisseur collected over the years, and a few larger pieces of Yadro. The Chapman Shell cabinet is home to small sculptures by our friend Campbell Paxton and mostly Italian decorative glass.
So that's a tour of our new digs, apartment 609 at Judson Manor.